Hello, I'm Richard Ridge for Broadway World. Up next for Audible Theater is Nobody Cares, written and starring Tony Award winner Laura Benanti for 3 performances only from February 2nd through the 4th. And I caught up with Laura here at Audible's Minetta Lane Theater.
I have put a lot of blood, sweat, and tears into this. It is a one-woman show fully. I think, maybe people are expecting cabaret, and it's not. It is really a comedy show. It has original music, but mostly it's like comedic stories about my life. And I really have put a lot of work into the writing of it. So I'm like proud of myself and I'm excited.
How did it all come about to do this for Audible?
My understanding is that they reached out to my agents about it, because I do sort of concerts all around the country, and something that I really pride myself in is a lot of the husbands who are dragged there will come up to me afterwards and be like, I don't like Broadway songs, but you're so funny. I would watch you just do stand-up comedy. And I was like, well, maybe I should do that. And this felt like the perfect opportunity to. And Audible, they have been so generous in allowing me to write what I want to write and say what I want to say, and so supportive, and just I'm really grateful. And I'm just really excited for people to see it and to do it. And I'm also nervous, which feels really fun.
Because I've always known that comedic side of you. I mean,
you
we
have.
talk, and we're like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, she's so funny.
Yeah.
Has it been cathartic and freeing to write this?
Yes, it has. A lot of times as an actress, you're waiting around for somebody to write you the perfect part. And at a certain point, I was like, well, I guess I'll just do it. And I guess the perfect part is myself.
Did you want your girls to sort of know what mommy does? Like, why did you want to do this?
I do not want any children to see this. In fact,
No, but I mean later on.
Later on,
Yeah.
when they're like 18, they can listen to this. I really highly recommend that no children come. There is, foul language and some stories that are just not appropriate for children, and especially my children. But eventually, I will hand this to them at 18 and just say, bring this to your therapist.
No, but as opposed to Googling mommy, they can be like, this is who I am. This is who mommy was when you were
Yes.
really small.
Well, one of the things I talk about is I have to tell them certain things before they can Google me, because I don't want them finding out from the internet. That would be a horrifying mind F.
Yeah. What are some of the things you wanted to cover in the show?
Well, I cover sort of being like a recovering ingenue, going from an 18-year-old starting on Broadway, really wanting everybody to like me, being surrounded by grown-ups and being expected to be a grown-up, but actually not being a grown-up, into, so many things about my life, my multiple marriages, which is deeply humiliating and also extremely funny. And I think I have a vantage point there that is funny to people. Talking about motherhood and pregnancy and childbirth, and then sort of how nerdy I was as a kid. I didn't have a lot of friends. And it wasn't until I was about 30 years old that I met this core group of girlfriends that sort of started me on this journey toward feeling like I don't have to please people all the time and make people happy all of the time. And that was very freeing. And then I met my third and final husband, Patrick. We have these 2 beautiful daughters who I want them, I want them to grow up knowing they don't need to do that. They can make themselves happy. And I also want all ingenues to do that. And frankly, all people who are trying to reclaim their best selves. So while it sounds like a TED Talk at this very moment, it's very funny and also very personal. And there's one story in particular that I don't want to spoil that is a little hard to say, but it's my favorite moment in the show.
I love that, but people can relate to you. Everybody thinks when they see a star, they think God has touched you on the shoulder and said, you have everything. Ooh. But you go through the same things that everybody goes through.
Yeah.
With trying to juggle life and career and family and everything.
Yeah, and when you're not super famous and you don't have 1,000 nannies and a ton of money and a chef, when you're actually participating in the day-to-day of your life, it is hard. You know, it is as hard. We're just, you know, it's just you're being a person. And then you also have that sense of like, I got to keep climbing up that ladder. You know, my show is called Nobody Cares because sometimes that's how I feel. But then I also have people coming up to me telling me how much my work has meant to them. And they're so sincere and loving. Like something my husband always says is he's like, people who come up to you are always nice. Yeah. They're always nice. I'm like, yeah, they're my people. They're my nerdy people.
Now, you also have a few songs in the show,
yes,
which you've written with.
Yeah, I wrote the songs with Todd Almond, who's a wonderful composer and actor and one of my best friends for a really long time, my music director. So he and I worked on these together, and I think they're really funny. And, you know, some of them get to a place of being moving, but they're all very witty and funny. And I just love the process of working with him. He's so creative, and we just know each other so well. There's a shorthand there that I really appreciate.
And then you have a great director.
Yes, Annie Tipp, who is, you know, young and funny and fresh and is so loving in the way that she communicates. Now, this is vulnerable for me because it's my life and it's something I've written. And she's never like, no, we're not doing that. It's always collaborative. It's always supportive with an eye toward offering. How about this? Offerings and support. So I'm really happy to be doing this with her. She's remarkable.
I love one-person shows. I've spoken to many people over the years. Gabriel Byrne, Vanessa Redgrave. They say it's the most frightening.
Yes.
And it's the most satisfying at the same time.
Yeah, because you're not playing a character and you have written it. So it ultimately it could potentially be a rejection of you and also your writing. Now that I'm saying it, I'm going to leave. No, I'm just kidding. But it's also the most thrilling and I think can ultimately be the most gratifying. And I've had that experience in my concerts all over the country and even, you know, out of the country. And this is even more personal. So I'm really excited. You know, I always say to my daughter that nervous and excited are just different sides of the same coin. And I'm trying to flip it. I'm just flipping it towards excitement.
How has being a mom changed the way you look at life and your career?
Come to my show, find out.
So as you're standing here, this is the Minetta Lane. It's gorgeous, Audible's Minetta Lane.
Yeah, it really is.
Looking at the stage, what are you looking forward to the most with doing your show here?
I love how intimate it is. I love how it really feels in a way like a giant rich person's living room. In some ways it feels like a totally malleable space and also is not serving any grandiosity. So it really does feel like human connection. I'm really excited. I'm looking at it now and I'm like, I want to go.
You're going to be there really soon.
I know. Oh my gosh, so soon.